Quarlo calling in from Texas. You are live on Truth Wanted. Quarlo, how can we help?
Hey, Dan. Hey, Zod. Good evening, gentlemen. I hope you're doing well. And yes, Zod is a very handsome man. And listen, Zod, I'm so sorry about that whole Kal-El thing. I was rooting for you, man. I was rooting for you that night. At the end of the movie. Well, it's been a fun week for the UFO people.
It certainly has.
I've been all over the. Yeah, I've been looking at a lot of comments, and what I wanted to call about was it's almost religious. The people who are sure that we've been visited, it's almost like a religious conviction. And I'm a skeptic, so I suggest that, well, evidence would be nice. Evidence would be really good. But if you even suggest that life in this galaxy, technologically advanced intelligent life, might be rare, people get angry. They come at you. Oh, you're just not looking at how many stars there are, and you're just crazy. There's so much evidence. No, there's not very much evidence. So yeah. I wish skeptics would be a little more skeptical. And believe me, I grew up. I'm an old fart. I grew up on all those great old shows. I would love it if there was other alien life, but I'm not going to let that wish bias my examination of the evidence.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And look, like, we live in the internet age, right? We have more access to information than ever before, but that also means we have a lot of access to really bad information, right? And I think that this is where some of this is stemming from. We're also living in a time where there's conspiracy theories like just everywhere, right? Like, you can just open up any app and somebody's going to be talking about something that is either demonstrably not true or so speculative you can't even say it's true or not, right? So aliens kind of fall into that, and they also fall into other kinds of related conspiracies. If you think the government and the world order is real and Jewish people are hiding up, secrets and stuff, you may be more inclined to believe that, yeah, government is hiding, like, aliens and stuff too, right? So, like, there's also these crossbreeding between these different communities of folks that may have very disparate beliefs, but have related ways of thinking and related ways of communicating about the kinds of evidence that they have for these claims. So yeah, they're definitely having a field day this week. I was checking out the UFO Reddit and a bunch of other places, and everyone's just freaking out about this. I haven't seen a freak out about this since, honestly, ever, because it is a big deal. Talking about this in a congressional hearing, that's not nothing. But it kind of is nothing in a way, at least if you know what was actually said. So anyway, Zod, any comment about people being religious in this circumstance, or at least having some sort of mania?
I always hesitate a little bit to stretch the meaning of that word, but I do get where you're coming from with that. There's definitely a mentality that goes beyond just normal academic evidence-based curiosity, and you do get a very strong reaction when you oppose it. So I definitely think there's something that resembles religious fervor.
Yeah, certainly.
Religious is an imprecise word there, but it's kind of it's a fervor. It's a fervor to want it to be true. And anomaly. Oh, by the way, Dan, I think I didn't learn this until last week. I think they've changed it to unidentified anomalous phenomenon, because that includes them going underwater and through mountains and in Walmart. It's anywhere they show up. So aerial is now an obsolete term as far as I'm told. Well, people have been noting and believing weird things since there have been people. 500 years ago, anybody you ask would say, "Oh yes, witches can fly over houses and slide under doors." And 3,000 years ago, when a shepherd got struck by lightning, "Oh, that's the gods." And 20,000 years ago, when the volcano erupted, well, that's the spirit of the volcano. People have always come up with explanations for things they couldn't understand, and I think that's largely what's going on now. I saw something I couldn't identify. Aliens. It's aliens.
Yeah, well, I mean,
people would take a step back.
To be fair, right? There was 3 people that testified at this trial. Only one of them, I say trial, it's a hearing. Only one of them actually says aliens are a thing. The other 2, the former pilots, were saying that they saw something that they couldn't identify, and they weren't able to really talk about it, or weren't really asked about it for a long time. Like, that was the limits of their testimony. They were pretty much neutral on the question of aliens. David Grush is the only guy that's actually saying it, and that's why, like, he's making the headlines here, right? So even other people that are reporting on UAP phenomenon are not like the first to jump on this thing saying, like, yeah, this is totally 100% non-human activity. They're just saying, look, there is this phenomenon that's happening, and I feel like my livelihood is threatened if I talk about it, and there should be some sort of method to talk about it. Like, half of the hearing was basically talking about, okay, how do we improve this? This is just like a policy thing, right? Like, this is, half of it was kind of like a PTA meeting in that sense. It's like, oh, okay, how do we come up with we're going to have this committee look at this committee look at this. I mean, that's what, like, most congressional hearings are. The aliens part was just kind of the spice on this little hearing here. But yeah, very interesting stuff.
Being able to safely report, but not be in fear of your job on something you saw and couldn't identify, that's a great idea.
Sure.
That would help clear up a lot of misunderstandings and misreporting. But yes, I watched. I didn't watch as much as you did. I couldn't get through it, but I watched the boiled down version. And yeah, when he started talking about interdimensionality and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, you're just speculating. You're just speculating now. The three most important words for any skeptic, and I get this, I hear this every ACA broadcast. The three most important words a skeptic can keep in mind is, I don't know. I don't know. So if I see a large triangular object moving through the sky at night, I'm not going to go, oh, it's from Proxima Centauri. Oh, it's an alien. I'm going to say, I don't know what the fuck that was.
Yeah.
I wish people would be more willing to say, I don't know what the fuck that was.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, like, that's part of it. And the people who actually saw things on the days that they're talking about at the hearing were saying that. David Grush, who actually hasn't seen anything himself, which he has admitted, is the one that's like, no, guys, it's actually aliens, which is really interesting. By the way, I mean, you are right in saying that. Well, so the UAP thing is still the term that's being used, just to clarify on that as well, because a lot of people ask, like, why is that a thing? So there's an office within the United States that's called the Office of the Secretary of Defense, right? And in the Office of the Secretary of Defense, there is a task force. It used to be called the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force. It is now called the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. And David Grush was a part of the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. So he has processed, some of these sightings and reports and presumably other things, right? And that's where part of his testimony is coming from. But he hasn't actually witnessed any of this stuff himself. And it is through his career that he has claimed that threats to his life, as well as threats to friends and family, have occurred. But again, no evidence besides his testimony about it so far. So we'll see if anything comes out of these private meetings and stuff. But I'm skeptical. I don't know if it's going to happen. Anyway, is that any other thoughts on this?
No,
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, it just sounds like more of the same. I don't really think it adds up to much. I guess we'll see if he drops some bombshells in that little secret side room. Maybe it'll eventually come out, but until then, it just sounds like a lot of rumors. And I do think there should be a channel for people to report things that they think are weird. But if you escalate that to the point that you're running around talking about aliens and flying saucers and stuff, then you have to expect that's going to reflect on your professionalism a little bit, and people might respond appropriately.
Yeah.
It all depends on how the story is being represented and what actually happened.
For real. I think that's all that can really be said about that. Carlo, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Well, I wanted to explain my name, Carlo. That's from an old Outer Limits episode called Soldier, written by Harlan Ellison. Guy from the future. Harlan Ellison actually sued Outer Limits because they sued James Cameron because he claimed that he stole the idea to make Terminator Orlo Cropregni, REMTNDO. He was a soldier from the future that came back to our present, and he didn't have a good time. So anyway.
Wow, that is a very random trivia fact.
I hope they're out there. I hope they're out there, but I'm not holding my breath. Not holding my breath. Life could be very rare, or we could be it. Everybody could have wiped each other out 500 million years ago. We could be the last remaining intelligent civilization. Nobody knows. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either, Carlo.
Gentlemen, thank you for great.
Yeah, thank you for calling in. Sorry to interrupt you there. Sometimes there's a bit of a delay between call and host there. But yeah, thanks for calling in. And thank you for also giving what might be one of the most complicated backstories I've ever heard for a call name. That's a lot going on.